Something's happening here. I was out there alone and unafraid. Apostrophe. I understood what I was feeling. Sounds like the guy that we want to buy the boat.
Welcome aboard. I'm Captain Joe, and this old girl, she's my home, Toko. She's a 1982 Edmonton Trawler with a monster in her belly. I've spent the last few years aboard making upgrades, and now she's ready to set off over the horizon. So join me as I say goodbye to life on land in pursuit of my dreams at sea. Hop on board to see how much freedom I can live for.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to episode 2 of Captain's Corner. As always, I'm your host, Captain Joe, and we are on board the mighty vessel Toko. Something fun I want to do with each of these videos is try and film them in a different spot around the boat. So today we are at the helm station, the lower helm station, in the main salon, as you can see. So today's question and topic that I want to cover is, how did I find this boat in particular? And there are about a million different ways to find a boat. My personal favorite and preference, I think, is word of mouth. But being brand new to the boating community, that was really not an option for me. So I went with the pretty traditional route of going through a broker through yachtworld.com. So like I said, there are a ton of different ways to skin that cat, and how to find the right boat for you. If you've been in the boating world for a while, or you've owned boats in the past, you know that word of mouth is really the best way to find someone who either recommends a boat to you, or perhaps even a boat that you've had your eye on for a while. And usually that way you can kind of avoid brokerage fees and things like that too. So for me, as a total rookie and having never done this before, I started out just by searching on Craigslist, OfferUp, Facebook Marketplace, Yacht World, BoatTrader.com, and I'm sure there were some others along the way, and just walking the docks in the local San Diego area here. Most of the brokerages will have listings up on the wall of boats that are available, like right here, right now. There are two different types of brokers. There's a seller's broker who helps the seller get rid of the boat, and then a buyer's broker. I did not hire a buyer's broker. I think that's something for, if you don't have the time to do a lot of research on your own, or exactly what you want but you can't find it, that's when a buyer's broker kind of comes into the picture. So for me, I was just out there alone and unafraid, knowing that I didn't know what I didn't know, and willing to potentially miss the mark on my first boat and take that as a learning curve. And so I was willing to accept that risk, but in return save the money by not paying a broker to find a boat for me. So that's what I did, and I just started. I actually, when I was home in Tacoma, looked at a few boats. That it's Trawler Haven up there. There are tons of awesome dry, rough water boats up in the Puget Sound. So I just kind of started there, testing the waters, and I looked at a couple boats that were on Craigslist and OfferUp. One, I think it was a Carver 2800, which was clearly not going to be enough boat for me, and then a Puget Trawler 41, which I actually really liked, but of course those boats were in Washington, and there's no way that I was gonna bring one down the coast having no experience on small boats and coastwise routes. So but it was good, and I encourage people to look at boats even if you know already that it's not the boat that you want to buy, because you get to go check out different layouts. You see different storage options and different, particularly I'm a big fan of getting on boats for the layout. For example, the only thing that I would trade on Toko is I would swap out right now she's in aft cabin, so the master cabin's in the back, and there are a lot of trawlers that have more of a sedan style, which is kind of that walk out to the back, where you kind of have like an open, what do they call that in kitchens? Open communication from the living space out to the back deck. So I really like that, and if I could have found a boat like with that layout with a queen size center V berth option, that's probably what I would do now. But again, at the time I didn't know what I was looking for, and of course Toko does not let me down with her layout and accommodations. But that's the point, is check out these different boats of different styles, because you might be surprised to find that there's something that you like on a boat that you wouldn't have otherwise even considered. So back to kind of the search process, I really think that Yacht World and BoatTrader.com are two really good websites that show you a really good snapshot of what kind of condition the boat's in, and everything that kind of goes into that. A couple of things to be wary of is if the pictures aren't high quality, or they look like they're taken in like 2005, the boat might not still be in that condition. And also I have my own reservations when a listing doesn't include photos of the machinery spaces, the engine room, and stuff like that, especially on older boats. Boats less than 10 years old, perhaps not such a big deal, but when you start talking about 20, 30, 40, 50-year-old boats, you really want to be able to see what's going on, beneath the surface. So it's a great starting point, and you can get in touch with the brokers straight from the website, and ask some more questions about the condition of the boat before you go check them out. So you really can see a lot of boats before you actually step on board, and kind of wean and weed out some of the bad options without having to go in person to see each boat. When it comes to particularly me finding this boat, Ed Monk 36 1982 hull number 10, I talk a lot about all the fingerprints of God and all the signs pointing to yes, live on a boat, and then particularly this one, it's got to be. A couple people really played a big role in that, and first of all was Dia. She was the seller's broker for this boat, and I remember from the start I said, hey, first timer, total rookie, take it easy on me. I'm gonna have a million questions, and she was so patient with me and told me, answered every question I had, or told me honestly if she didn't know the answer. Frequently would get in touch with the buyer and find the answer for me, and was so professional and not pushy that I felt comfortable from the first moment that I met her and I saw this boat, all the way through the final purchase and wire transfer of the money. Like, it was a very low stress process for something that was completely new to me. So Dia, thank you so much. And I remember coming on board and thinking immediately, wow, this boat's got everything I need and probably more. And I think this is the boat. This is the one for me. And as I was walking around and asking Dia questions, she said, like, wow, look at the smile on your face. This, something's happening here. I think this boat is probably like a good one for you. And I immediately thought, oh, the tricks of a saleswoman. She can't get me. Oh, no. And so I kind of stood my ground a little bit, and I said, okay, like, I really like the boat, but I do want to go look at some others. It's the first one I've looked at seriously in this area. And she said, okay, totally understand, go for it. And like I said, no pressure from her side at any point. So I went and looked at some other boats. Another Ed Monk that was not in very good shape. Some Californian 34s, some Grand Banks apostrophe. What else was there? Californians 42 and 34, and some CHBs, of course. And you know, none of those other boats really met my, you know, checked my boxes that I was looking for, and none of them felt right, you know. And those of you who have bought the right boat before totally, I think, will understand what I mean about, you know, it just feels right. There's a relationship that is born between a boat and its owner, and I felt that from the start. And after looking at other boats, I understood what I was feeling. And so I came back and I got serious again with Dia about my budget and what the actual process for buying a boat looks like and how long it takes. And I told her my budget was about $50,000, but realistically I was looking to spend more like 35 or 40, because I wanted to have kind of that 10 grand of wiggle room in case there was something I wasn't prepared for that I might have to shell out 5 or 10 grand for. And so I think at the time the boat was listed at 52. And so I told Dia, you know, I don't think I can do 52. Realistically, is there much wiggle room with the sellers? What do you think? And she said, you know, hold on, let me talk to them, I'll get back to you. And or no, maybe, I think actually she told me, this was before I even got serious about buying the boat. She said, I talked to the sellers and told them about you, and, you know, that you're a young guy, that you want to bring the boat back to life and live aboard, and, you know, all the things that I'm doing now. And they said, before any other talk of money, they were like, sounds like the guy that we want to buy the boat, the kind of person we want to have this boat next. And they said, you know, if the price is not right, you know, we'd be willing to accept an offer of $40,000 from a guy, you know, a guy like what you just described. And so lucky for me, when I came back to look at the boat for the second time and talked to Dia, she already was ready to hit me with what I was going to offer anyways. And again, just another like totally obvious sign, like this is the way it's supposed to go for you. So yeah, I made, from that point, I said, all right, Dia, let's do this. Let's get some paperwork going. How do I make an offer? And you know, the whole process was so simple. Well, at least I think it was, because Dia just walked me through step by step. And that's pretty much, that's how I found Toko and made the offer. And then there's still the sea trial, and insurance and stuff to figure out before the deal was done. But I'm pretty sure I was already pre-approved for insurance. I worked on that from the start. And then the survey, I actually had two surveyors on board. One was the general surveyor who does the hull and electrical systems and, you know, just general stuff. And you know, he gave it his blessing, said a couple of minor safety hits that you can knock out, some other, you know, non-essential, non-structural, non-condemning kind of hit marks from the survey, but overall ready to rock. Like, this is a safe boat, it's in good condition. And then the other surveyor was for the engine alone, and that is a story for episode 3 that will be coming soon, and that is the story of how I met Jim Wilson.